welcome to Director's Garage live stream. It's a Thursday. I am your host and resident idiot, Michael. And I don't know what I have to talk about today. Today's, I did an episode uploaded this morning. Did pretty well. I mean, on balance, I don't need these anymore. Did pretty well on balance, which for a Civca late week, you know, it's not like a major brand. It's not a flagship headphone, which those are the ones that tend to do the best on this channel. I was pretty happy with it. We're like right in the middle of the pack, so a pretty good day in that regard. One thing I'm still fighting is, I have been negative on COVID for a week, but I still get this residual cough that I can't seem to get rid of. And the other thing is like in the mid-afternoon, I get tired. I'm like, I don't know what that's about, but it's about something. I'm like, damn, I've been like, all this week, it's like I come home and I'm like getting an hour nap in the middle of the day because I just can't keep my eyes open anymore. Which is very unlike me. Normally I sleep 4 hours a night and that's it. I'm done. And since the COVID, boy, kids, not doing too well. Meantime, what else? We talked about all the new headphones last week. Talked about the new player. There's a new SP3000 coming out. This is the 1000, and the 2000s now are... Oh, I know what I want to talk about. The 2000s now are going for a steal on... anywhere, everywhere. They're like, if you go on Headfight, you can get like a SP2000, which is a great full function player for like $1,500. The other thing there's a ton of right now, if you're in the market for a Verite, for a ZMF Verite open back, I have never seen so many open back ZMF headphones on the market than there are right now. Like, if you wanted to check that out, now is the time to check it out because they're falling to like $1,600 for a great pair. You're not gonna do much better than that for a custom $2,600, and if it's doctored at all, they get up to $3,000 before you know it. It's really fast, or they go up in price very quickly. So there's a ton of them on the market right now, and it's just tanking the price of that headphone. And I know because I took a bath on mine. I think I paid $3,600 back in the day, and I wound up selling it for like $22,000. It was brutal. Something like that. Anyway, so how are you guys? What's everybody doing today? Cheers, everybody. Welcome to a happy hour on a Thursday. Yesterday, I couldn't do the live stream because I was interviewing John Legend, the piano player. And that was a whole ordeal. There's a lot going on that shoot, and it wound up being one of the toughest shoots I've done in a while. But that airs tonight on Entertainment Tonight. If you guys check your local listings wherever you are, you can see that. It'll be the second story in the show. Then I got him to like do all kinds of things where he's playing piano and stuff. Very fun. A really interesting, entertaining interview, and I enjoyed it. So you can see that tonight on the air. So there's that. What else have I been doing? Well, I started working on the shootout, and I'm not too far into it, and it's going to be a while. Guys are going to have some patience with this, because that's traditionally an episode I do a lot of post-production on, and it's going to take me a couple weeks just to get the graphics and all that stuff done. If you've seen any of the past ones, like, they're really graphic intense. So, and I tend to blow those out. But LCD4 back here, I've got the Atrium, I've got the Carbon, the Susvara Out of Hiding. We've got the Utopia 2021, whatever it is, the old OG Utopia. And back there, well, it's kind of hidden in the thing. The Abyss is back there. I mean, I'm pulling out all the stops, all of my top headphones, going head to head. And then we're going to do a big shootout, and I'm going to talk about in my opinion anyway, what it is about each headphone that I appreciate, and I'm going to crown one of them as my best overall. And I don't know, I'm not in a position to even come close to telling you what that is yet. I have some early leaders. I have some early guys, some that have fallen behind, and some surprises, of course. There's always surprise when I start doing shootouts and listening for certain things, and it's been an interesting time so far, and I've got a long way to go on it because I just started breaking down some categories, finding good music to do the shootout, because I like to do something interesting. I don't repeat a lot of music on this show when I'm doing recommendations. A couple of go-to tracks pop up often. I know anybody who's sick of Los Lobos knows that I love Kiko, and I love Dream in Blue, and that pops up in a number of shows, but that's just because it's got such a great bass track and it's such a good place to test out bass. But for these shows, for a show like this one that's going to be a little special, I'm going to dig a little deeper. I'm going to find some stuff that's a little off the beaten path and give you some cool recommendations, things that have turned me on that I really enjoyed. It's gonna be a good episode. I'm really looking forward to going through the process. It's just that just takes me a long time to put that show together. That is not something I just do. Normally my production process is I write one day, I shoot the next day, and then 3 or 4 days of editing depending, and then the show goes out. That's sort of like the production schedule of my regular show. Like the last one, I think I wrote it on the plane ride back from England, and then I shot it. I didn't get to shoot it until Sunday night, and then I edited Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it posted this morning. So that's kind of, to give you an idea of what it takes to put my regular show together. There's a lot of intensity there. There's a lot to do. And then I'm also working during all of that too. So I'm going to work every day. I'm writing stories and shooting stories and, doing all that. So that's how it kind of works. And so I'm talking. Pixel Pipes asked me, could I talk about the upcoming shootout? Well, that's it. It's going to be my best headphones that I have in house, and I've been storing them up. I mean, the last year I have picked up a lot of good headphones, and they're great headphones. And the sad part is, and maybe the exciting part in the same way, is that I'm going to be selling off a lot of these headphones when I'm done, because I've been sitting on headphones that I just haven't been using for a variety of reasons. Either I have new product in, there's a product that I'm particularly attached to. I mean, I know the Atrium has been getting a lot of hours on my head, so that's a lot of hours that something else isn't getting on my head. So I'm going to be making some cuts to the inventory, and also that'll afford me the opportunity, once I get some money back for some of these headphones, to get some new stuff in and try out some of these newer headphones, the Utopia 2022, for instance, and the maybe the Expanse, but man, I'm still a little on the fence about it. Certainly I want a Verite closed at some point. The new Viking from Noble. There's some exciting stuff out there that I really want to try. I've been in the hunt. I almost closed a deal. I almost pulled the trigger on an LCD-I4, which is their in-ear LCD-4, which a lot of people rave about. They talk about that as being one of the best IEMs, and I'm like, that's a headphone I've always wanted to hear. That close, and I just... It slipped through my fingers and somebody else came in and bought it. That happens. I don't get emotional about stuff because I can sell it and I can buy it. It's all transitional. I don't get emotional about any. I would sell any of this gear in a second if I needed to, for whatever reason, if I wanted to. So I'm like, that deal didn't work out, so maybe I'll find another one down the line, and maybe I'll find a better deal on it. Who knows? The Lyric I was pursuing for months and months and months. As you know, I didn't want to pay $2,000 for this headphone. I still don't feel like it's worth $2,000. But I waited until one came into the price point that I wanted, which was closer to $1,000, and that's when I bought them. There were a couple on the market, I made an offer, the guy took it, there you go. And that's the way I encourage most, everybody to get your headphones that way, just because the new stuff is so expensive. But I understand, sometimes you got the extra money sitting there and that new Utopia is so exciting and everybody wants to hear it. I'm still not sold on the looks of that thing. I think that they really sold themselves short on the, or sold the audience, us, the buyers, short on the development of it. I think they could have made that a much more exciting looking headphone. And I think the old Utopia just blows it out of the water looks wise. The old one is a classic, beautiful design. This, they just blacked everything out and went, there you go, here's 2022. They updated the driver, which I'm sure the sound is worth it, but the looks of the thing, I'm like, you really kind of hit a low bar. And Focal does good design. Sorry, I'm untangling some cords while I'm talking to you. Focal does amazing design work. They have a great design team there. I was just shocked that they came in so ordinary with that headphone, especially given that it costs $5,000. $5,000. That is the third most expensive, regular consumer headphone on the market. I'm not counting like the HE1, and I mean those are such limited run headphones and so few people buy them. I don't consider them like a part of the market. They're the third most, of the production headphones, they're the third most expensive behind the Susvara and the Abyss. So you've got to bring it. I think you got to send it when you're going for that top tier. You gotta kill me on the design. And boy, they just like, all right, we'll just kind of do what we did before and paint it black. Like the Stone said, I see a headphone and I want to paint it black. All right, let's go to the chat. Let's see what's going on. Hi, Michael Pythagoras. It says he's looking forward to the live stream. Best regards from Germany. Well, with Pythagoras as your name, y'all should be from Greece. But that's all right. We can work with that. Welcome, Germany, and cheers. Break open a what's a good German beer? I don't know. What is a good German beer? Something Bavarian. Okay. Adnan Ferozi says, hello, Michael. He's finally on time. Great, Adnan. Welcome. Now, you have the WA22. How's that working out for you? Or did you sell it? Somebody sold their WA22 and somebody kept it. Was that you who kept it? I think it was Adnan who kept it. All right. Ryan Dietz has beers out. What are you drinking, Ryan? You can't give me a tease like a couple of icons. I'm also doing some tech today. I've really been sort of teching. I've got some tech issues in the studio. I'll talk about those in a second. I don't know. That just like, squirrel came into my head. How I've had some monitor issues in here. Well, I run everything on a Mac, and I switched the graphic cards over to a 6900 XT, which is like it's a super high-end, almost a gaming card, but it also happens to do video really, really fast, and it runs faster than there's an Apple version of it, but you can buy, in theory, according to the Reddits of the world, you can buy the same card, the normal card, just slot it in and it'll work. Well, I've been having some problems getting the second card to work, so I'm running two monitors now off of one video card. The second video card's in there, but the system's not recognizing it. That's a mess. I've been using a new shotgun mic in the field. This isn't new. It's been around my office for a long time, but I've never employed it. Like it's been in a bag, and it's like most of the time I'm just setting up and going. But I've wanted some better audio on the field stuff I've been doing because I don't know if I've talked about this before, but this is the camera that does most of the work. My main camera is a big 4K, blah, 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 and I only shoot in 1080 because it's, who the hell cares? It's just me on camera. I don't need you don't need to see this face in 4K. But most of the show is shot on this camera right here, which is an RX100 V7 from Sony. And I use this because I can shoot in super slow-mo on this, so when I'm shooting B-roll, I can literally just move the camera with my hand, and it's 120 frames per second, and the show is shot at 24 frames a second, so that's greater than 3x slow-mo. It's super slow-mo. And so the shots come out beautiful when I shoot it with that, and I just go with a real shallow depth of field. You get the look. But the mic on this is pretty horrendous. So I started using this on the top of the camera. I wanted to do a little tech today, so anyway, I got sidetracked just now. But, you know, you just screw this guy in, and then the microphone goes into the side here, and it's rechargeable. You don't, no double A's. You just charge it once. It goes for a day and a half. You know, you'll never run this thing out of batteries on a normal day of shooting. And now I've got a good shotgun on this camera. So I've been using this in the field in the last couple shoots. So you'll see this around in the background of a lot of my episodes, you know, because I just have to be able to grab it and go when I'm, because I also use this on Entertainment Tonight. This is a great camera for doing two shots. Normally we have a camera that goes in and picks up the single, like I'm on a single right now. Well, if we have two people sitting side by side, it's sometimes handy in post to have just a lock off two shot, and then the other camera is dedicated to singles and it just goes between the two. So I've always got a bailout shot. Well, this camera will find an eyeball and track it live and keep that eyeball in focus. They call it eye autofocus, and this has got one of the best schemes I've ever seen in any camera for keeping eyes in focus. And if you know anything about video, you always focus on the eyes. The eyes are the most important thing to keep in focus when you're setting up your video shots. Director's Garage. So this camera does a lot of work for me, and I've got a ton of little batteries. It just takes this tiny little baby. Look at the size of this battery. It's a joke. It's this big. That's the battery for this thing. So I go through a lot of batteries in this, and I'm always charging them. There's a dedicated charger that's off to the side, and it's like always charging these things up because I go through them so fast. And when you're shooting in 120 frames a second, let me tell you, you're good for about 15 minutes, and the battery's going to be toast. And worse as the batteries age, because as batteries age, they do worse. But anyway, so this is back here. See that little thing in the out of focus, you'll know that's the microphone. Let's go back to the chat. Sorry, I got sidetracked. I do that. Who knew? Squirrel. Pythagoras, very excited about the shoot. Yeah, me too. Very excited. It's one of my favorite episodes to do because it's so production intense, and I put a lot of effort into those. I do a lot on the graphics for that, for the shootouts. If you look at my last, I think I've done 2 of them now, and this next one is going to be the biggest one I've done yet, so I'm going to have more headphones to do. But I'm also excited because it's a headphone that viewers show up. It's a headphone. It's an episode that viewers show up for, and it's exciting to get a big rush of viewers for a given episode. I like, you know, it's like, hey, we're doing something right. It's validation that we've got things going well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to get that out. It's gonna be though probably 2 weeks before that episode's done. We'll just do a live stream next week. Okay, Pixel Pipe says he had a nasty bit of a storm here in Florida. Man, I watched that. I watched all that. Absolutely amazing what I saw. And I don't know, I mentioned this guy before on the show, but he's, you know, YouTuber with way more viewers than me. I watch Cletus McFarland a lot. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's a guy who's into drag racing, and I just follow. It's one of those guilty pleasures. I enjoy it, but he has done so well at YouTube that he's bought a whole bunch of cars. He's got a shop in just outside of Tampa. He's got a racetrack. He bought a racetrack with the money he's made off of YouTube, and like refinished it and made it into something. So and he went through and he did a live he did not a live stream, but he did an episode this morning where he was taking us around the racetrack and showing all the damage and stuff. Really, you know, heart goes out to anybody in Florida right now who's struggling at all, and they took on some water. That's bad bit of business if you're into headphones too. 4K video source. He got the Meze Empyrean today, and what an astonishingly good headphone. And I would say that about all Mezes. I have yet to hear a Meze where I went, not tuned well. I've had them where they're, you know, the Empyrean isn't as fast, like the technicals aren't as strong on that headphone, but the tuning is so good. It's such a rich, luscious sound, and it's the best, it's the most comfortable headphone I've ever worn. More so than even the Elite. It's so much so that I bought the Meze pads for the Elite. That's how much I like the Meze and think it's so comfortable. But you stop focusing on the details and you just enjoy the music. Yeah, it's all about enjoyment. It's a pleasurable, if you like bass and you really get, you know, you just want to be moved, man, the Meze products are right there. They really tune that stuff well. Pythagoras says the LCD4i would be really interesting. Not much actual reviews out there. Well, it's not, I don't think it's really in production anymore. That's the other thing. You can't like go to, let's go see. And I'll do this. I won't go to the thing. Audeze. I don't think you can just buy an LCD4i anymore. I don't think they make them. LCD-i4, I guess it is. Oh, they can. You can buy it. Okay, so it's still out there. All right. Well, I was in pursuit of one at about $1,000, and I'm like, I just waited too long, and whatever. There'll be more. Always somebody selling something. So the next closest price I've seen is like $1,500, $1,600. So boy, the price was right, and I was just sitting out there. Guy didn't have a lot of reviews on eBay, so I'm like, I'm not terribly sorry because you don't know what you're getting sometimes. Anyway, Ryan Dietz is actually just drinking iced tea, just like your director right here, sucking back the nectar. It helps my residual cough from COVID. How many headphones will total you have in the shootout? Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, I still have probably seven or 8. I'm guessing about 8 headphones in this one. Because but I've been doing the top dogs right now, the ones that I'm really expecting to do well. And then I'll do some of the other ones too. But, you know, am I going to throw these in? I don't know. I don't know that these are, but these are like the best closed back I own right now. And I do have the XC too, the Audeze XC. I think these are tuned better. So there's that. But the XC is $800 cheaper and a lot heavier. It's a more substantial headphone. So there you go. Okay. How many headphones? So yeah, that's how many headphones we'll have. Adnan has right. Okay. You have still the WA22. It's doing great with Western Electric 421. That's an old tube. They don't make that tube anymore. So you've got new old stock of the 421 and the tongue-sole Chathams. Spent a lot on tubes. Yeah, anything Western Electric is going to send you back some money. I have the Western Electric 300Bs in my WA5LE. Still going with those. Saw some negative comments about those on the somewhere. Somebody wrote something negative about them. I'm like, dude, I think they're great tubes. I think they sound fantastic. Very excited about the sound of those. And it's an American brand, and you know there's a lot of that going. You know, I think that's kind of cool, and it's a revive. You know, so the company that they bought all the old equipment from Western Electric and hauled it down to I think it's Georgia or Alabama, Georgia, I think, and put the factory back together. Got some of the original material. I did a whole episode. It was like episode 23 or something about how cool Western Electric is and what they're doing. And I also have a personal connection. My dad used to work at Western Electric, so very, very cool. and company, and I still have the Takatsuki's, which the other thing that I loved about Western Electric is they're standing by their tubes. They won't stand by your 421 because it's probably about 50 years old, but the new 300Bs they're producing are guaranteed for 5 years. 5-year warranty on those things, man. That's incredible. So that alone makes, you know, makes me really think, makes me want to think twice about purchasing anything else when they're standing behind their tubes that way. And they also have a bunch of new amps and stuff they're coming out with, which are super high end. They're like well over 10 grand. Okay, so Aaron Seek says Kiki might be his favorite rock album. I'm guessing it's Kiko. Yeah, Los Lobos Gig. Yeah, so Kiki off. Go with Kiki as often as you want. Yeah, he was auto-corrected. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I get it. But better than King Key. Oh, we're going back to last week. We're working blue. Abdullah says, hi, Michael. Happy weekend, because it's a day forward there, I believe, where he's at. He bought the HE6SE, which is a power-hungry headphone, indeed. He connects it to a regular $300 speaker amp, and it was bright with no punch, lifeless, like the Ether CX. Oh, jeez. I haven't heard the actual Ether CX. I've only heard the Massdrop version, and I didn't like it, and I wound up selling them off. But I listened to the Ether CX closed at Can Jam last year. And by the way, a couple of people wrote, I saw a couple of reviews of Can Jam saying, it was the best Can Jam ever! And I'm like, crap, I didn't get to go. So frustrating. Man, I'm sorry I missed that thing. But, yeah, I didn't, I don't know. And I have not listened to the HE6X SE at all. Have not heard it at all. But the price is cheap on that, right? It's only a couple $100. So maybe worth it. Pythagoras says Tagernsey Hell, which means Hell Bright from Bavaria. It's a very good beer. Okay. If you have to try it if I'm in Germany. Well, the next time I'm in Germany, I'll do it. Beck's is he thinks the chance for a Beck's beer is higher. Yeah, you'll find Beck's everywhere here. But Tagernsey, I'm going to keep that in mind next time I'm in Germany. Fantastic. Abdullah, I'm handsome. You want to see me in 4K? Believe me, you don't. I promise you don't. Yeah, I won't do 4K. I have written this. If you, I wrote a comment on Marquez Brownie's. You know, Marquez Mk. DHP is, you know, one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet, maybe the biggest YouTuber on the planet. And I listen to his stuff every now and then. I'm not a regular follower of his because it's so Apple centric and stuff, and I like all things. But he was writing about video and how he's shooting a video blog, a vlog. His vlogs are shot in 8K. And I'm like, okay, is there a rush of 75-inch computer monitors out there? Because there ain't no reason to shoot 8K at all, ever, unless you're going to project it on a massive theater-sized movie screen. It's complete waste of pixels. You're just throwing stuff out. And I told him, you may not believe me, but your editors hate you for that, for shooting in 8K. They may not tell you they hate you, but trust me, as an editor, we hate you. 8K, it's like, because you got to figure, 4K is 4 times the file size of standard def, of standard HD, of 1080. It's literally 4 times which means the data path has got to be massive to be able to play multiple streams. You got to have a super fast computer, and you got to have super fast drives to shove all that data out so you can play it. When you go to 8K, you're now 16 times, right? 16 times. Yes, 16 times the data of 1080. So the size of those files are so massive, and it takes so much. You're working in proxies constantly if you're in 8K. You got to make these tiny little files, and you got to resync them when you're done with the edit. You got to resync them with the full size, and then you spit it out, and you have to downsize it anyway. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Total overkill. So yeah, that's the 4K. That's from 4K and 8K from a video maker's standpoint is like, unless you need it, don't do it. It's you're just causing yourself grief. The only people who really need it are people who pulling like green screen keys, like Lucasfilm and things like that, where they're doing a lot of green screen work or blue screen work, depending on how they're doing it. You need those extra pixels to really get a nice sharp edge. That really does help out in the keying process. But if you're just shooting yourself on, showing off a new phone, it's like 1080, dude. 1080 is all you need. You don't need all this extra stuff. So, Tech Talk with Michael on Thursday. Tech Talk Thursday. Adnan says he assumes the LCD i4 will need a cipher cable, and Audeze DSP is not a fan of that approach. I don't know. I didn't get that deep into it. I was going to buy them and plug them in. That was the plan. That was the plan from my end. So, yeah, that's how it goes. Hey, Michael, hope you read comments on the air from Ontario, Canada. Hey, cheers, eh? Let's go get some Molsons. Let's get the Molsons going on the show. That's a plan. Canada makes really good beer. I'm a huge fan. Canada and Australia make great beer. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. What's all going on in your worlds? What are you excited about? Who has had the chance to demo any of the new gear? Now I talked a little bit. There were a couple of people last week who had heard the new Focal, and they said it was an improvement, but not an improvement justifying the price. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, somebody tell me if you've been out there and you got to hear any of this stuff. Let me know what it is that impressed you about some of the new stuff. I'm particularly interested in the Expanse. I want to know. I'm hearing good things about the bass on that headphone, and I'd really like to hear more from people who have actually tried it and aren't like a total fanboy of that. So that's what I got. What happened? Did something go down on this stream? Because like all of a sudden we dropped a lot. I'm like, I normally, I understand I turn people off naturally, but we lost a bunch of viewers all at once, so I don't know what happened. Anyway, what else have I got for you guys today? I'm actually looking at a new DAP player that's going to be in next week. It's an old DAP player, and I'm excited about that, and that'll make sense when I do that episode, but it's going to be after we do the big mega shootout. So what I forgot what I was going to ask. I was going to ask you guys something, but I forgot. But I have a new product on the way. That's kind of interesting. I'll show that off on a future episode, and I'll show you why it interested me. And I've sort of alluded to it a little bit in recent weeks, so it'll kind of make sense to you, I think. ZMF Caldera, Ryan Dietz says, was his favorite thing to show. That is the new Electrostatic from ZMF. And that headphone, I don't even think it's on their website yet. It's so new. Let's see. ZMF headphones. Yeah. Oh, it's not. Oh, that's right. Anybody notice that when you go to ZMF, it's not. For some reason, it's not a safe site. Is it the They don't do HTTPS. Is that what causes it? I don't know. But okay, let's see. Shop. I don't think it's on here yet. Yeah, it's just announced. It's not even for sale, not even for pre-order yet. So yeah, I'm excited about the Caldera. I want to see what they do. I know I can say this with some healthy authority. CMF keeps getting better at what they do with every headphone they make. It seems like every time they revise something or come out with a new version of it, it's better than the last version. And that's like they're heading in the right direction. And I can tell you, and I've said this before on the show, the quality, oh, I got a little switching on this one, but the quality of their headphones is just getting better and better. And this is just, to me, and I'll probably say this in the shootout, but this is a masterpiece to me. This is like, if you could draw a perfect headphone, I would start here. It looks like a great headphone, and it's got beautiful design. It's got kind of like a throwback feel to it. It's hefty, but not too hefty. It's got a substantial band, and it's comfortable. ZMF and Meze are just leading the field in design right now. I mean, I really do think that they're fantastic, and maybe Zach can get me one to borrow. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't really talk to those guys much over at ZMF. They're from Chicago. They're not like around here. The Audeze folks, I have more of a relationship with because I went down there. I went to their factory. I talked about that when I went down there. So those folks I do a little better with. And they're like more open to like helping me out and stuff. Zach, I mean, I'm a customer. I just buy stuff, spend money. I mean, he's got to be pretty happy. I've bought 2 of his headphones and for probably over $4,500 so worth of headphones. Oh, no one, am I broke? Is there a reason I'm broke? Really too much. So that's what's going on here. I don't know that I have all that much more. You guys got anything you want to talk about today? I did my tech update. My problems are with graphic cards and monitors, and I've got some things that I shoot with, and I kind of shared that with you all. And I'm sort of running out of topics. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Any questions about today's episode? The Sivka. A lot of people wrote they enjoyed my Sivka, particularly the case review. This is going to go back to Audio 46 in a day or two, as soon as I get a chance to package it up and send it. But that was kind of fun. In your video, you estimated the Meze Lyric at 700 USD. Do you still see it that way? I think 700, 1,000. That to me is like the sweet spot. I felt at the time when I was first reviewing them that they were kind of a $700 headphone, and that's really where they'd be. And I would have even 1,200. Like I could stretch to 1,200 on that headphone, and I'd feel good about it. I'd feel like, okay, I'm getting value here. At $2,000, I'm just like, I know it's a Renaro driver, and it's the same driver that's in their, top flight Empyrean and Elite. And I get that. There's a lot of design and development that go into that. It's just the rest of the package is so light and small and kind of, it just doesn't have the feel of those more expensive headphones. And I was a little surprised when I saw that at $2,000. I'm like, to me, it's comfortable. I mean, I can't even call this portable because they don't fold. Like if you look at the Dan Clark Audio headphones, even their top of the line stuff, the Stealth, these things are hinged and you push up and they compact, they get really compact. Well, this will at best lay flat. And the case for this is the case for the Elite. I'm sorry, for the Lyric. And this is half a backpack for a case. I'm like, that's a lot of space to chew up if you're going to be using something for travel. So, yeah, to me, it doesn't make sense. I can see them like, you know, maybe in a compartment of my backpack, like setting them flat. You can't leave, you know, fortunately these are just 2.5s down here. Actually, it was nice because it was a pleasant surprise. I was going to do some auditioning and I found I could swap my cables from the Susvara into these, which was a nice surprise. Because I have a nicer cable for the Susvara and I could upgrade and I could do that and I could actually drive these balanced. Which is overkill for this headphone because it's very efficient. You know, these Renaro drivers, you can run low power on most things. But it was neat that I was able to sub out the cable. But even then, like they're not perfectly flat either. So, you know, they got an angle on them. I'd be afraid that if I'm putting a lot of stress, I might break this. I know we talked last week and some people said that this outer shell is magnesium. I will buy that this is magnesium on the outer shell. I will not buy that this part, the yoke part, is magnesium. This has to be plastic because it's flexible. It can flex it with my fingers. And I don't think magnesium would do that. I don't think magnesium would respond that way. So this part here and this part here is plastic. Try and get that in focus. I don't have the overhead camera set up, but this part here, which is the part that hinges off the headband, is plastic, and then this yoke part here is plastic as well. I believe that this is magnesium. I can buy that because it does feel different, but it sounds different too when I tap on it. This sounds plastic, and I believe it's plastic. And that, to me, if you're gonna lay this flat, you're gonna crack this thing. I just know it. And that's part of why I said, you know, I don't feel like these are $2,000 offerings because all of this should be magnesium. This should, but then how do you get this kind of cool machined slidey slide if you've got something that's not plastic there? You know, you can't do that with metal. You'd have grinding. So metal on metal doesn't work. So I don't know. Oh, and look, Chat69's back. Oh, I missed you guys, man. Just remember, boys, dating Chat69 is going to cost you half your shit. Let's just hide user from channel. God. So, yeah. So they call, you know, I would call these a travel set of headphones, except they don't fold up and they don't fit in a bag easily. You're gonna have to use the case, and that case is big. However, it's light like a travel headphone. These feel like Bose. These feel like a Bose set. I mean, granted, you don't get the active cancellation on these things. It's all passive. It's just, you know, the shell itself does the damping. But I should probably hook these back in because this is my monitor for the show. If something goes askew with the audio, we need to be able to tell. It's probably why all the viewers went away at once. What happened? I went from like 40 viewers down to 13, or down to 10 there for a minute. Something went screwy, or I just upset people, which, you know, I could do that. He's looking for a comfortable and portable headphone, but wasn't overwhelmed by the lyric when he first heard it. I'm overwhelmed by the sound of the lyric. The sound of, there's no question, the sound of that driver, that's the Renaro driver, and it's in a good shell. Like the cups are fine. It's just that, you know, the rest of it, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure, but it is, this is a great headphone. It sounds fantastic. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful sound. So, yeah, it's like I can recommend them. I just don't, you know, like I said, find used because I just don't feel like this, I'm getting $2,000 out of these. But I also would argue that I didn't feel like I was getting, you know, $3,000 or $4,000. I don't even know what they cost right now. Where are we at with pricing on, let's go to my favorite channel, Audio 46. And what's the pricing on the Mezes right now? And you can still get the Empyrean, I believe. I think they still sell it. Yeah, $3,000 on the Empyrean and $4,000 on the Elite. That's stretching too, because that puts it at, you know, maybe the fourth most expensive headphone, the Elite. And I'm like, is it? I mean, I love the design of those headphones. Those headphones are designed, you know, but you also get, it's all metal. You get carbon fiber bits all over the place. Like, yeah, at least they're bringing it from a material standpoint. So there you go. Pythagoras says, you're absolutely right. You have to have portability, the portability of DCA audios. And you know, the other company I was thinking of was, remember the blue headphones that were out? They were out a couple years ago, and I think they've sort of like, you know, like they've gone away because the sound wasn't great. But talk about a folding headphone. That was another one that just like, it folded right up into a tiny package. Perfect for travel. But you might look into the Noir from Dan Clark Audio. I didn't like the Stealth as much, but the Noir is another one that does the foldy trick, and it's only about $900, and it's got great tuning. So that might be your answer. I've not had the Noir in here, but I did listen to it at Can Jam last year, and it really impressed me. That was one of the headphones that really stood out for me. And there you go. You mentioned it. Just read a little, Michael, and you'll come across it. Yeah, the Dan Clark Noir. Yeah, it really, that really impressed me. That's a fantastic headphone. Dynamics. Yeah, it doesn't have the slam. I mean, what you get, this damn Renaro driver slams like no tomorrow. You get all that bass. So, but I like the Noir. I like the Noir's tuning. It at least impressed me. What didn't impress me was last year was the Stealth. The Stealth was so anemic in the bass department. Somebody said, well, I didn't have them seated properly. I'm like, I tend to disagree with that. I actually think that I had them on right, because I tried them twice on 2 different rigs. And is it likely that I didn't have them seated properly twice? That doesn't seem likely. You know, even a blind squirrel finds the nut. I'd probably, you know, one of the 2 times I had them seated, I would think. And they just, neither one blew me away. I was like, I was amazed by the amount of room sound. Like, if you just put them on, the passive cancellation on those headphones is amazing. Like, the world just drops out from around you, and there's no electronics doing it. It's all done by baffling and whatever. But the sound of the headphones, I was like, Whereas these impress the hell out of me. Like, they sound great. It's a great Meze tuning. You just don't have the portability maybe you should have, I think, in a headphone. So, but that said, if I'm going on the road, I will probably I was taking the Elites with me in their suitcase. They have come with a briefcase. It totally looks like a little, you know, like if you were a blues brother and you had the harmonica in the suit, that's what you would carry, you know. And this just has a soft case, so maybe it's a little better. I don't know. But try the lyric. I think if you hear these, you'll be impressed with them. Especially if you have any experience with Empyreans or the Elite and you've liked the basic sound. Remember, same driver, same exact driver. It's the Renaro driver. You can even see in there, you know, there you go. You can see in there. So, oh, and the Elites aren't even out on this table yet. So I haven't even gotten to them. So that's another one that's going to be in the shootout. There you go. There you go, guys. Okay. What else are we going to talk about today? I'm just a little light on topics right now because I just released the episode this morning, and I normally what happens is I have a week of or a couple of days of stuff, and I just shot it all out the door this morning. The Empyreans are his favorite. Whimsical says the Empyreans are his favorite cans that he's tried. He's using them right now. I thought they were I love the tuning. There's no question. Love the tuning. Love the comfort. And like on those 2 fronts alone, people discount comfort a lot, and they discount design, and comfort is half the. If I can't keep the headphone on my head longer than 20 minutes without it hurting, I'm not all that interested in the product. I mean, what I love about the headphones that most impress me right now, and the LCD4, which I just got in, these are heavy. no question. These are heavyweight headphones, but the weight is distributed in a beautiful way across the top. So I'm not getting like it's not like putting too much pressure on the crown. It's sort of distributed thanks to some carbon fiber bits up here. You know, they're distributing the weights and spreading it out, and then the cups and the feel of this thing. And I know these are replacement pads. Somebody pointed out they're not the original pads, but whatever these are probably ZMFs, but they're fenestrated, and I love a fenestrated leather. I mean, that to me is the most comfortable of all the, because you get the feeling of the leather, but you still get some air going through there because of the fenestration. They tend to eat up a little bit of some of the signal. They get a little absorby in the same way that Alcantara does. You know, like if you're looking to make a headphone less bright, use Alcantara, because it's going to suck. It will eliminate some of those bright waves. But these are so comfortable. I've worn these for hours. Now you're aware you're wearing them because they're so heavy, but they feel good and they sound so good. You know, that's going to be right up there in the final mix with this shootout next time. But you know, I got to be comfortable with the headphone. If there's a knock against the Empyrean, it's the technicals. I mean, they don't hold the resolution of the LCD4 of the Susvara. The Susvara is, you know, way more resolving than the Empyrean, and they sort of address that with the Elite. The Elite is a faster headphone, and that's why, you know, that's the headphone really. If you love the Empyrean but kind of wished it had a little more, you know, like detail, especially in things like decay and bells and little cymbals and stuff in the top end, it's like, you know, you'll get extra sharpness out of, you know, it's a faster headphone. I think it's a thinner driver membrane with the Renaro. They did use the same basic principle, but they made it thinner so it's more responsive, and they probably wound it a little tighter too. So it'll be faster. You'll get a faster, more resolving headphone out of it, sound out of it, and that's what's great about, you know, the Susvara, is that they took that HE1000 V2 design and they accentuated the things that made the HE1000 V2 so great. I don't know, they made it $4,000 more greater, but that's what they did, and that's the hallmark of this headphone and why everybody loves them so much. I have other reservations with this headphone, but as far as speed and the way things decay and the you know, the fastness of the sound and the way it translates and puts the music together, very impressive. There are other things about this headphone that I'm like, you know, could do better, but that's what you get when you jump up in price, and the Elite seems to have addressed a good chunk of that. I still don't think they're on the plane of some of the faster headphones out there, but they're really good. But you get the best tuning because Meze knows how to tune a headphone, and you know, they're maybe the best tuned headphones I've ever heard. Are they the best? Well, we got to wait for the shootout. That's a tease, folks. Okay, get back to the chat. When we talked about Matthew Hilty. Welcome, Matthew. Hey, cheers, buddy. How you doing? It's a Thursday. A little off day, you know, smaller crowd today, I get it. And I didn't have a chance to put this up. I wasn't so sure I was going to go live today because I was getting a little tired, and I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, we'll just do it. But Matthew Hilty says he's torn because he loves headphones, but for the portability and isolation, it's hard to beat IEMs. Well, and that's, you know, the thing about IEMs that and the reason I still do so many of them is there's a huge interest in the IEM field, of course, but the IEMs are making the biggest gains in the headphone business. You know, this is a new headphone, and you know, just trying to think, like the Focal 2000. 2022, the Utopia, the new Utopia. It's a great headphone, and it's better than by all accounts, it's better than the old Utopia. But is it a light year revolution? No. And when you get into IEMs, the jumps that they're making in the IEM space and the jumps in sound quality, now they're not, you can't say that there's an IEM out there right now. I haven't tried the Viking, but that's probably the closest. But you can't say that there's a headphone out there right now that will mimic an over-ear in terms of that business, the grandness of the sound, but they're getting better so fast. Like every single one of these things sounds so much better than the last. And what was the standard 6 years ago was a thing called a balanced armature, and there are these tiny little modules, the way they deliver sound, and you can tune balanced armatures to handle just a little fraction of the frequency spectrum. And then you put a whole bunch of these together at different frequency spectrums, and you get the full sound picture. So a lot of companies were, 5 years ago, what the big hype was, they were jamming more and more of these balanced armatures, taking a smaller and smaller fraction of the signal, and then they'd use crossovers to distribute the sound. Well, balanced armatures are great, but now we have dynamic driver IEMs, we have planar IEMs, we have electrostatic modules for IEMs, and we have, I love to say it, the bone driver, which kind of uses your own skull to resonate frequencies, and that, they're thinking way advanced, and the basic balanced armature of 5 years ago, to me, when I put one in, it still sounds good. It sounds decent, but it sounds obsolete to me. Like the sound quality has jumped so greatly, so far from 6 years ago, from 2015. When you look at say, for instance, the 64 Trio, which was, that came out, or the what's the other 64 audio? The U12T. All balanced armature headphone, and a good sounding headphone by many people's accounts. But it put those up against the Kinera Nanna 2.0, which has dynamic driver, bass, and an electrostatic tweeter, or put them up against the Meze 2.0 or the Meze 1.0, and it's night and day difference. Like the greater response and the slam and the things that we all appreciate about a good headphone are coming into these new designs and leaving the old design, the balanced armature design, way behind. Does it make the balanced armature sound bad? No, but it doesn't. It just, everything is so much better now than it was 6 years ago. And the evolution of design, now they're, the big gains are in the planar IEMs. The planar IEMs are spectacular because they're bringing speed to an IEM that we've never heard before. Outside of maybe that Shure, the Shure that I have here, the KSA-1500, and the 1200, which is its baby brother. Well, those are pure electrostatic IEMs and spectacular. They don't deliver the bass of some of the other headphones, but they're good, and they're a joy to listen to because you get all that speed in an IEM, which is fantastic. Well, now, I mean, it's going to get to a point where you're going to have something like the Shure, and then they're going to augment the bass with a big old dynamic driver bass and they'll figure out a way to maintain what's there in the electrostatic, and then you get the dynamic driver down low. Well, now you've created a mini Martin Logan speaker for your ear. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's where I want to be. That's the next level, I think. Or like the planar magnetics, which, the timeless, which I've, obviously touted heavily on this show, and I have no deal with timeless. I think they're fantastic. For $200, you're getting something that sounds like $1,000 headphone if you bother to amp them correctly. If you don't amp them correctly, they sound like a $200 headphone. But put a big amp on them, like the WA11 Topaz or the IDSD Signature or the Diablo. You know, put that into the Timeless, and it's like unbelievable what they're getting out of that headphone. And there are more on the way, and there's a couple more that came out. I'm drawing a blank. There's a new, we were talking about it last week, the new Campfire audio has one, and I haven't heard it, but another one. You know, it's like they're using this planar magnetic technology now in an IEM form, which they've never been. You know, we're not making that kind of gains in the over-ear department. Like, they're all incremental. You know, making a thinner membrane, making, you know, playing around with the magnetics, with, you know, the magnetic scheme, what magnets are using, the stealth magnet technology, and then and then in the case of Dan Clark Audio, you've got the metamaterial, like sucking up standing waves. Well, you're getting advances, but they're not on the level of what the IEMs are doing. The IEMs are jumping leaps and bounds with every round. Okay, Whimsical, by the way, thank you for the $20. You're going to keep me in Robitussin and iced tea for the next week. I appreciate it, buddy. Definitely appreciate it. Because this show loses money like nobody's business. Okay, so back to the chat. The bass MPs are very good, subjective. Yeah, bass MPs are much more subjective and rounded than objectively good. They're really good headphones. I mean, there's no question about it. The only things he's tried that come close to comfort are Dan Clark's lineup. I wasn't all that impressed with Dan Clark's. I you know, like, I think they're good, but they're not on. They're definitely not on the Meze level, and they're not on what Zach is doing with ZMF. These latest ZMF headphones are really good, and they're getting better. And I think Audeze's making some jumps too in comfort too, but you know, no, the Meze stuff is on another level for comfort. I mean, there's no question about it. LCD4s are really good. He really liked them, and the Abyss Big Boy, but comfort won out. He bought the Utopia years ago. And the Utopias, you know, you can get great pads for those. Like Deconi sells amazing pads that will help that out. Like, you know, that will get you that next level of comfort for the Utopia. Whereas the LCD4s are a little trickier, you know, because Audeze glues their ear pads on. You got to work a little bit more for that. I will say that, you know, I bought these. They were pre-modded. I bought them used, and whatever he did to these is really good. I'm very impressed with the comfort of these pads, and they look like ZMF to me. Like, I don't know, but maybe they're not. So there's that. But yes, and the Abyss is an astounding headphone. They look ridiculous. They're just unusual to wear, because if you're wearing them the way that I like to wear them, here they are. I'll pull them out carefully. Every time I pull out the Abyss, everything winds up on the floor. Because they're so awkward. Losing my voice a little bit. So, you know, here's the Abyss. You know, they look ridiculous. There's no question. This is the most ridiculous thing ever. Comfort-wise, they're not too bad, because the way I wear them, and I believe the way that if you're a bass head like me and you really like a good solid bass, you want these, you don't want these hugging your ear. If they're hugging your ear tight, where you turn your head and they stay with you, and I would guess that this would be a little, you know, the least comfortable way to wear them, the bass tightens up a lot. And what I like about these are when you snap them out and to their widest position, and if you're wearing them right, they're super loose on your head. And the slam that comes out of these, if you open up and break that seal a little bit, is next world. It's like otherworldly. These go from being a really good headphone to being an astounding experience. And I've told this story few weeks, you know, I've had people come over and put these on, and they're jaw-droppingly good. It's an experience, this headphone, with the right amplification, and that's Ferrum stack tuned right, set up right. That Ferrum stack is like, there's nothing. I've not heard anything better with this headphone. I've heard this with everything from Woo's WA33 on up. That Ferrum stack drives these better than anything I've heard. And I've heard these often in the past. And I'm blown away by it. I mean, and everybody who's come in here, and I've let them listen to the Susvara, and then I let them listen to these Abyss, and they just flip for the Abyss. And these are not trained ears. These are just people who like music. So, yeah. So you're jumping. Your jump. I think there's a big jump to the Abyss from the Utopia. I think that's a safe thing to say. However, they're not uncomfortable. They're just awkward. It's just unusual to be sitting here, and I've gotten, they're not clamping down on my ears. They're just kind of resting there loosely. And so you got a little balancing act going on, and then everything's coming down on this big old pad on top. It's just an unusual experience. It doesn't feel like a normal headphone wearing experience. But, and you're either down for that or you're not down for that. And they look ridiculous. There's no question. It's like the most ridiculous design ever. But if you're in it for the sound, this is one of the very best you'll ever hear. And I encourage anybody to try them. Really fantastic. Whimsical says he loves how genuine I am and their channel very unique. Question about the Susvara: do you think they are at all bright compared to the Empyreans? Well, I've never shot the two out. I've never done a shootout between them. The big difference is speed. There's just so much more detail in the Susvara. The one thing the common characteristic and my biggest knock on the Susvara, they don't slam like some of the other high-end headphones. Like, you don't get that movement of volume of air. And one of the things I talk about a lot is when you're listening to an exciting bass track is you get this sound that's almost concussive on bassy headphones that feels like you're just getting smacked in the back of the head. And the Susvaras don't do that all that much. Whereas the Abyss will boom, like you get that. It's like it's a physical feeling you get from the headphones, and the Susvara don't bring that to the table as much as the Abyss and the Empyrean. And the other thing with the Susvara is, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about this, but it's something that I've noticed, and it's almost a part of the Hifiman house sound. It's a common thread through many of their planers, and there's a thinness to the upper, mid, lower treble range that sort of 6 to 8K range there. It gets a little bit, there's no weight behind the sound up there. And it's got it's a very transparent sound, and either you buy into that sound, and I have in the past, or you think that there's something missing there. And the people who don't like the Susvara, I think, are partially reacting to that thinness in the upper mids, lower treble region. but it's common through all of Hifiman's headphones in the upper end anyway. I don't even, I've never heard this Sundara, which everybody raves about at $300 or $400. There's but I call it a thinness to the sound. It's like the timbre gets a little bit on the thin side, and it loses a little richness up top. And it's not like crazy. It doesn't jump out at you like it's just like something that's there that I've noticed every time I listen to a Hifiman, the higher end Hifimans. And that's like my biggest knock, whereas the Empyreans are more smooth, like their tuning is very smooth across, particularly the Empyreans. They're very smooth across, and then you have a big accentuated bass. The Elites don't quite slam with the Empyreans, but they're very similar. I mean, I did a comparison shootout between the two, and I'm like, other than detail, they're really close. And they should be, because they're using the same basic driver. So the question that you asked back in the day, 100 years ago, are they bright compared to the Empyreans? Well, like I said, there's that thinness there, but they're not accentuated into the treble. Like the tuning on the Susvara is pretty spot on. It's a great headphone, and you're splitting hairs there. So I would say no, I don't think they're bright compared to the Empyreans. They both have, the treble range in the Susvara, there's no sibilance at all on the Susvara, and part of that's due to speed too. You don't get any globbing at all of the sound. They're just wicked fast, almost electrostatic fast. Like the only headphone speed wise that I think can compare would be like the Stax 009S, and probably the X9000. I haven't heard them yet, and then the Carbon from Audeze, which is a spectacular headphone. So yeah, that's what I think. I don't think that they're bright. No. Have I reviewed the Unique Melody Meze 2? Says Dominic Green. No. I had the Meze 1s though, and it was just a matter of, I had so many headphones to get to, and I haven't had a lot of IEMs through here. It's like, do I want to jump back into the Unique Melody thing? Unless it was like a drastically, like earth-shatteringly different headphone. But most people say that the Meze 2 is an evolution of the Meze 1. And I'm like, I didn't feel like I needed to spend the money to get into them. And I don't have a deal that gets me free headphones or gets me Audition headphones of that at that price point from Unique Melody. So I have no way to really get them in here. I'd have to buy them. So I just decided not to. And really, they're so long in the tooth now, there will be a Meze 3 on the market probably by next summer, if they keep going at the rate they revise that headphone. Hugo 2 is good with the Timeless also. I got to confess, Ryan, I have not tried it. I have them here. I just haven't tried it. But I will. Why not? Big 10. We can do that. And by the way, thank you for the $5. Appreciate it, man. You're awesome. Thumbs up, dude. And cheers to you. Cheers to you guys. Ryan says the XMEMs look promising, but he didn't get a chance to listen to them. What was the semiconductor-based driver? Well, I don't know what that is. Did you see the MEMS driver display at CanJam? If so, can you sort of explain it? Matthew, I didn't make CanJam this year. If you've followed it all, I went to Africa, came back from Africa, got COVID, and then I was out a week, and then I went right to London to cover the Queen's funeral. So I missed CanJam, which I'm really sorry, because I love CanJam, and that's where I get to connect with you guys, and I've met a lot of people last year, and I had a much smaller audience. So I would have loved to have been there this year. I couldn't make it, which is a shame, because it's practically in my backyard. Ryan says they're full range piezo drivers that are created the same way computer chips are made. Well, Ryan, cheers to you. You know what they are. I don't. MEMS driver. Who's using the MEMS driver? Is there a headphone out there that uses it that I would know? They require special amplifier chips though, and can only be used in powered devices. That's interesting. I got something new to look up. I'm gonna have to Google tonight. You're gonna keep me up late, guys. I gotta know. I'm a curious lot. This is another thing. Check this out. We were talking about tech earlier, and I'll get back to the headphones in just a second. But look what just announced from Amazon. If you guys like Kindles at all, I'm a Kindle, kind of a Kindle whore. Not that I've been doing a ton of reading. I joked in my episode, I don't read. But let me see, where can I get to the... There you go. Okay, so check this out. Kindle Scribe. Now what this is, if you like e-ink readers, and there have been a couple of these on the market. There was one called Remarkable, and I almost bought it, but I thought it was, like, the tech wasn't quite there. But it's an e-reader that you can write with. So you're using e-ink display, and you can write on it and take notes, and you can even like use it as a notepad, or you can use it for all sorts of shit. And it's also an e-reader at the same time. Bye, you going to Pilates? Okay. Miss Director, checking in. So I'm really fascinated by this, guys. I'm like, this is something that is going to be in my... Because I have to do a lot of things live, and sometimes, like, if I'm on an iPad, I have to open up a note page to get a message out, and I'm like, man, if I can just take a pen and scribble it, and you can kind of do that on the iPad, but you got to charge the, things never charged. The stylus, the pencil, whatever the hell they call it. Oh, I pushed the wrong thing. There you go. I'm back. Yeah, so that was really cool. I saw that the other day. I'm like, oh, I just saw it today, actually. Very exciting. New technology. E-ink writer. As opposed to what the iPad does, which is, a regular screen. Okay. That's new tech. I don't have a MEMS driver, but I can tell you about e-ink. Okay. Michael, please show close up how you set the Abyss pads. Oh, the thick part. Yes, right here. There. Now, most of the setups on the Abyss put the thick part on the bottom. Like everybody I've seen, and I set the pads to the back so that they're at the back of the head, and the thinnest part of the pad is right here. I won't flip you off. The thinnest part of the pad is in the front. That's how I do it. But then the other thing I do, if you'll notice, these aren't perfectly true because I have bent these out because I like getting the pads off of my ears a bit to accentuate that bass. So I pull these out fully, and then I bent these a little wide so they are just barely making contact with my ears, and then I put the thick part of the pad to the back. That's how I have my Abyss set up. That's the setup that anybody who's come in here has just really been blown away with. When they're tight on your head, they get a little, like, first of all, they're not the largest ear hole on the inside, like, ever. They're a little bit on the small side by comparison to some of the other headphones, and these pads aren't as cushy as, say, what Meze does with their pads. So you're not getting, there's a lot of comfort that you're giving back if they're tight, and then you lose all the bass. And I like the boom and bass, man. Count me in for boom and bass. So that's what I do with the Abyss. +1 for the Ferrum stack. Would like to get them when the budget allows. Yeah, and keep your eye on the used market because you can probably pick up That'll come down. I mean, it's still kind of new, but you're at 8 months old now, and you know, keep your eye open. So people will start unloading that stuff because they're going to go to something else, you know. So keep your eye on the used market, especially because you'll get a deal on them. You know, I'm talking about $3,000, which is a lot of money, but I would think you can probably pick up the Ferrum stack at some point for like $1,500, which is doable, you know. I'm not saying it's pleasant, but it's doable. Waiting for Abyss closed back, preferably with it. But the problem is that Abyss, the folks up at Abyss, they don't show their hand very easily. You really don't know what's coming from them and when it's coming. I mean, the Diana V2 just kind of dropped on us like a ton of bricks. And when they dropped the TC version of this that probably pissed every ceramic owner off in the world, it was just done. They just do it. They don't telegraph what's coming. There's been rumors that there's a closed back Abyss coming, but I haven't heard anything, you know, like substantial that would say that it's in the immediate future. So if they're working on a closed back, if you're saying they are, it would have been through their podcast. I don't watch their YouTube channel at all. I looked at a couple of episodes. I'm just like, it's not for me. There's a little too much going on there. Like, I feel a little guilty liking their headphones on some level because there's some shadiness I've read about. Nothing I've experienced personally, but there's some shadiness going on up there that I'm not like totally comfortable with from what I've heard, from what I've read. That said, there is no question this is one of the best headphones on the planet. No question. We've taken nothing away from that. Which of the top of the line headphones have similar impact at bass tracks? Now, this is all going to feed into the next episode, the next regular episode. But yeah, you've got it. The Abyss, the Elite, the Empyreans. Those are right up there, sure. If you're, I would also say look to the 900 from Fostex, the Fostex TH-900, TR-900. What is it called? Check that out too. That's bass cannon. If you like bass, that'll get you going. Fantastic headphone, and you can get those for a song. Like $700 will get you into a used Fostex. JTB, welcome JTB. Cheers, brother. JTB is my brother from another mother. JTB says he's heard Hifiman's headphones from the Susvara on down. His spicy take is to get the Ananda Stealth or the Aria Stealth Magnet and call it a day. I have not heard the Ananda Stealth, but I would say the Aria Stealth Magnet is that is a real headphone. The only thing I would say, if you're looking at the Aria Stealth Magnet, is to also consider a used HE1000 V2, which will cost you the identical price, and you'll get a little bit more speed out of them. I think the HE1000, to my memory, I didn't have them side by side to compare. I think the experience of the HE1000 V2 or an SE, if you can find an SE for a couple hundred more, will take you a little over that. But yes, for price for performance, that Aria Stealth Magnet Edition is right in the pocket. I always advise people to look at used stuff because this stuff is so expensive. Last couple, and then we're going to finish up here. We're heading into our hour and a half kind of like time limit. There's no limit on this. It's just, you know, like my voice starts going because I'm old. Adnan says, thanks so much for showing the Abyss tuning tip. Really appreciate it. That's just my solution. Everybody has their own business with it. But my nightmare was I sent these out to get like a tune-up. And they tightened this nut up here, and you know, like I think they sent me a new band or you know whatever it was I had them do. I don't remember, so long ago, but I had sent these out, and when it came back, they were all like stock, like they had bent everything back into their official position or whatever. And it took me months to get them rebent into the right, you know, into the way that I loved them so much before. So that was kind of interesting. Audio Fool. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Hey Audio Fool. Cheers, brother. Happy Thursday. One day left in the week, unless you're in Japan. It's already Friday there now. But hey, you know, hope you guys are having a good week. I've got one shoot tomorrow. I'm doing nothing. There's nothing of interest. Not of the John Legend quality. I shot an interview with John Legend yesterday. That's why we're on the phone. We're on the phone. That's why we're doing the live stream today. Is because I had the John Legend interview yesterday afternoon and did him at a concert. He had a small little concert for Sirius XM. It was like called a tiny stage, small stage concert series, I think, presented by American Express. Cha-ching. But yeah, they were. He was playing this really tiny, small theater in LA, just a piano on stage and him entertaining, which is, you know, talented guy. I'm not like the biggest, hugest fan of his music, but I got it. You got to tip your hat to the dude. I mean, amazing talent. So yeah, we were doing an interview with him, and that airs tonight on Entertainment Tonight. If you can find Entertainment Tonight in your local listings, you can see it's second story in the show. You'll see what I did yesterday. You won't see me on camera though, I don't think. Stay off. A face for radio or a face for YouTube. Hey y'all. Ryan Dietz. Oh, Matthew Hilty, question for Ryan. Are you Mod House Ryan? If so, hi. And he still listens to his Argon Mark IIIs on a regular basis. Thanks again, Matthew Hilty. Haha, he is. And thank you for the kind words. Mod House Ryan. Now you got me curious. Who's Mod House Ryan? We're going to Google that. How famous are you, Ryan Dietz? Mod House Ryan. Well, the Google suggestion is Ryan Reynolds. But let's see what happens. Oh, that's funny. Headphone show. You were on the Headphone show, Ryan. How about that? Mod House Audio. There you go. Mod House, I'm going to do a little plug for Ryan Dietz. Go to Mod House Audio. You can check out what he's been doing. Fostex stock headphones. Oh, cool. I have to, Ryan, I should ask you, because I want, somebody was looking for the Fostex TH-X00, and I have an Ebony version here. You know, I did the shootout with them, but now I'm like kind of done with them. I've listed them. They're in the director's garage sale right now. But I offered to sell them to somebody who's looking for a replaceable cable. Are those easy to mod and put a replaceable cable on it? Because somebody's interested in making those a balanced set, but they want removable cables, like the V2 of that, which was called the THR00, I think it was. Maybe I've got that wrong. TRX00, which is the next version of it. Anyway, Ryan, in the chat, if you can, is it easy to mod those headphones and convert them? And do you do that? Because, you know, maybe I could get you hooked up. Just saying. Make some sales, spread some love. Yeah, great. And Ryan has modded the Argon and the T60RP. And I would encourage you to go to modhouseaudio.com. Cha-ching. Plug. Free plug for Ryan Dietz. He was going to ask if you got your email a few weeks ago. You know, Ryan, I had so much going on I haven't had a chance to like, I'm woefully behind on emails. You just know the the crazy that I've been going through lately. So no, but I have to catch up on emails, and I've had a number of people email me different things. I've had such a scattered mind, and I've been doing so many different things. TH-X00 is a pain to mod for the cables. All right. Point made. But if you can charge extra for the mod, yeah, I'm listing those at $450, which is basically what I paid for them. And there was, if you remember, there's a slight nick in one of the cups, but it's a headphone that, if you look at the resale market, those have gone as high as $700, those Ebony TH-X00s. And so you get a little nick in the side cut, and you don't get the side cup, and there's a not removable. I'm selling them for $450, which is what I paid. I think I paid $460. I'm knocking $10 off as a courtesy. If anybody's interested in that headphone, it is a great headphone. I just like my Purple Hearts more, because you know me, I'm about the bass. So yeah, there you go. All right, guys. I'm gonna say goodbye to you all, and I'm gonna get going on my, after a nap, because I'm really tired. I'm gonna do some of my reviewing tonight and start getting that mega shootout together. I got a long way to go before I've even written the episode. I'm just doing research right now, which is I do actually put time and effort in to really listen to stuff and listen to specific things and pull specific things out of headphones, so I can, you know, I'm not just going to give you a comparison that's like, oh, these sound good. You know, I'm going to actually tell you things about the headphone that I've found and the things that I've grown to appreciate about the different ones. So, you know, they have points of reference. So I try to put some takeaway content into these mega shootouts, and I have to get along in that process. But I want to thank you for stopping by. I gotta get out of this mode. How do I do that on this computer? Oh, so illiterate. I want to thank you guys for stopping by the Director's Garage live stream today. Hope you got to see the episode this morning. I talked about at the top of the show was we did the Sivka. It's in the new thing, in the new episode, and it did better than expected. I don't always expect when you have one of these kind of smaller brands, cheaper headphone. They don't always do as well, and this one did pretty well. So I appreciate the people came back and watched the show. Always good to see post-COVID, and I've been gone for a couple of weeks and a lot of things going on. But I appreciate you guys. I always enjoy doing this live stream. I like hearing from you guys. I like hearing what's on your mind, what you've listened to, what it's exciting you. This is all about give and take, and that's what makes this show great, because this is your show more than it is my show. So I'll see you guys before you know it. What do you say? All right, get out of here. Oh, that's the wrong one. You know, I can't get off the air clean. I gotta mess something up. Well, I just messed it up. There, we can do that. Ha ha ha!